Offr CEO and founder Robert Hoban has worked in the Irish property sector for 2 decades, specialising in the sale of commercial and residential properties. Over the course of his career, he's overseen the exchange of more than 6,000 Irish properties, 30% of which were traded online. And he joins us on line 3. Good morning to you, Robert.
Good morning.
Okay, what does Offr actually offer?
Yeah, it's a transparent offer tool so that estate agents can use it, so buyers can quickly place offers and see other offers that are on property, and submit their own offer, upload proof of funds, photo ID. So it boils the long, complex process of a property transaction down to something that's short, digital, and ultimately very transparent. We're all about bringing transparency into what is a very sort of opaque area of life.
Okay, so 20,000 offers have now been made using Offr, which is OFFR, by the way, by 15,000 registered and approved buyers. So this has the technology, I suppose, in play, so that if you're buying a place, say, for 100 grand, hypothetically, and the auctioneer rings you and says, we've an offer of 110, you don't know is that 110 genuine or not.
Correct, and this has been a huge issue of distrust and annoyance and frustration for buyers, sellers, and even agents alike, is that, for decades, for over a century, the process has remained unchanged. So while every other facet of our life has transformed utterly, banking, insurance, travel, retail, property, real estate has remained totally unchanged. Paper, opaque, all that sort of thing. So you're right. We did a survey before we launched Offr, and over 50% of respondents said that they have no trust or faith in the property buying process. And there are estate agents genuinely trying to, put a deal together, but nobody believes them. Whenever they say we've another offer, someone has come back. Every time someone places an offer, magically there's another one higher than them. And I've had so many people tell me over the years, I've been working in the industry for 20 years, say they pulled out of deals. They walked away from their dream home because they didn't trust the process, not necessarily because it was too dear or anything like that. I mean, that's a terrible reason not to go for your dream property.
But aren't we casting aspersions here over an industry? The vast majority of people who work in it are fastidious and upstanding and honest.
Correct. And this is the great irony, or you might say the massive gap between perception and reality. So if you talk to any sort of normal, any person on the street who's been through a process, they'll all say, estate agents will make up offers, fake bids, fake offers, that type of stuff. But actually, and I know from, as I say, being an agent for 20 years, 99.999% of the time, it's always legitimate, it's genuine, because there are so many buyers, there's so much demand out there that there are offers coming in. But it creates so much stress and distrust that, you've got this big gap between perception and reality. But it does mean that sales break down. 1 in 3 agreed deals at the moment in Ireland fall through. Mm-hmm. So after it's sale agreed, 33% of them never actually go through. I mean, can you imagine the amount of time and cost and effort and stress that creates for everybody involved? Everybody,
including the auctioneers.
Exactly, because the estate agent doesn't get paid until the deal closes. So it's not in the agent's interest to drag things out, or try to, kind of queer the pitch, as they say, because, they just want the deal closed. They want a happy vendor. They also want a happy buyer. They want the buyer to come to them when they have a property to sell, because, every buyer is a seller at the end of the day also, or in most cases. So, so what we came up with was a solution whereby there's a little button that sits on the estate agent's website on all the properties, and if you're passing by a property and you see a sale board, you can scan the QR code, and immediately on your phone, while you're in front of the property, it'll tell you what offers are on that property.
Wow!
How many offers? What's the highest offer? Where it's at? And the estate agents are very embracing of this, because if you think about it,
that was my next question. Are they welcoming of your technology?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we've over 100 companies now actively using it, up and down the country, from small independent agents in small villages and country parishes up to some of the big brands in the cities. Because if you ring an estate agent will typically, happily tell you what's going on with the property. They'll say to you, we have an offer of the asking at the moment, or just above or just below. But there's no way of really verifying that. But also there's an additional problem. And unfortunately, buyers also tell fibs. So, a buyer wants their offer to be considered above everyone else's, so they'll often say they're a cash buyer when they're not, or that they have the money, or that their property is sold when it's not. And an estate agent has no way of verifying that in any sort of kind of efficient manner. There's so many inquiries now, so many people placing offers on property. There's no way an estate agent is going to be able to ask every single person to email evidence, proof of funds,
sure,
before looking at the offers.
And that's what technology allows. Because I imagine, because the estate agent is going to be obviously working on the side of he wants to get a happy buyer, but he's trying to get the best price because his commission is based on it, or her commission is based on it for the seller.
Correct.
But if he squeezes an extra 10 or 20 grand out of Joe Soap, it's only going to be 100 or 200 quid at his 1.5%. Whereas if he sold 3 houses in that time, in the same allotted time, then he'd make a lot more commission.
Exactly, yes. And a lot of people don't fully appreciate that the estate agent is representing legally, and ethically representing the seller. That's who's paying the estate agent's fees. So they're obliged to get, the best possible price, but within a reasonable time frame. Most sellers aren't saying, well, look, I'm happy to, wait 2 years for my property to go up in value. They just want to get whatever's the best price now in the current market. But what we're watching and seeing with technology, the agents are saying to us, it's fantastic because we let the buyers take control, shall we say, of the bidding and the offer process. So let the market do its work. So, for example, you have to photograph and upload your ID and your proof of funds, and then you'll get very quickly approved as a registered buyer, and now you can submit an offer on a property. But it means that if someone else submits an offer, even if it's lunchtime on Sunday when offices are closed, the other people will immediately get an email saying a new offer is in for the following amount. Would you like to just stay on your own offer, or would you like to increase your offer? So there's full kind of transparency, but also real-time notifications. It's no longer 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Yeah. And we look back over the 20,000 offers, and over 40% of them were placed in the evenings and over the weekends.
And as long as you have a legitimate offer on a property, even if you don't want to up it, a higher offer comes in, is there a moral, if not legal, obligation on the process to keep you informed?
No. So even though there is regulation and there is a regulator, the regulator regulates certain things, like an estate agent must keep a record of every offer. But that can be manually written into a book or whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily confirm and verify each offer. We actually verify each offer and each buyer independently of the agent. So the agent is able to say to their customers, look, this is independently verified, it's all legit, and we keep a full record of everything, dated and timestamped. So if there ever is a dispute or an allegation or a challenge, we can produce the logs to show it was all legitimate. This was a person, IP address, the ID was legitimate, proof of funds was legitimate, and that's a massive difference to just taking someone's word for it over the phone.
And are you pitching this, Robert Hoban, to be, an ancillary service provided to the nation's auctioneers, or have you designs on being, a bona fide auctioneer yourself with this process as your foundation?
No, I'm finished in the auctioneering game. We're much more interested in providing a platform, so that we're working with the industry, but we're also working with industries outside of Ireland. So it's launched in the UK, it's launched in Africa, down in Cape Town. We're talking to a number of companies in the US that are going to start to use it shortly, and a few continental countries as well. So we work with the industry because the industry is ultimately
global.
But ultimately they're the professionals advising the clients. We don't value the property. We don't, advise when's the best time of the year to bring the property to the market. We don't show the properties or get involved, but we do automate, 80 to 90% of all of the manual tasks, the paperwork, the bidding process, the reporting, the communications. So instead of an estate agent having to make 100 phone calls and send 100 emails every day to update people on what's going on with properties, new viewing times, new offers, that's completely automated. So there can be never any dropped calls or forgot to do this or didn't get time, because this is another major issue that was reported by buyers, particularly when it's busy, is that they'll say, listen, I put an offer in on a property, 2 weeks went by, I never heard anything back. I rang the estate agent and the estate agent said, it's sold, it's gone to someone else. And the buyer will say, well, why didn't you ring me back? And the estate agent says, look, I'm just so busy, I can't ring everyone back every single time.
Does it differentiate between someone who's able to get a mortgage or who has cash at hand?
No, so what it'll do is it will allow people to submit offers, but there's full transparency around the financial capacity of that person. So, for example, you can have someone submit an offer that's subject to mortgage and possibly subject to the sale of their own property. So they're not excluded. They're still able to submit an offer, and they may submit X amount. But you might also have somebody who has further advanced, so maybe they've secured their loan approval, maybe their property is contracts exchanged, and their offer is Y with those important backgrounds. So then the estate agent working with the vendor can make an informed decision around which offer to go with. It doesn't necessarily have to be the highest offer. That's the key thing. It's not like an auction where it has to sell to the highest bidder. It can sell to the best overall package, right? So the offer amount is important, but then, how quick can somebody close? How many other conditions are attached? Is it subject to other conditions such as, planning changes or, dividing the garden from the house or, random things that could be unique to a particular property. Yep. People do place conditions on offers.
Okay, Robert, I kind of have to leave it there, but they say the best ideas are the simplest ones, and anything that can ease the stress in the house purchasing process, not just in Ireland, but globally, and maybe I know you have global aspirations now. This can be franchised possibly across the world, and does give that bona fide element, and does take away from the time-consuming phone calls and emails that the agents are making. So it seems like it's a win-win. There's no downside here, really, is there?
Well, hopefully. I suppose everything has to be paid for. So the estate agents pay us a license fee for the technology, and it's free for the end user, the buyer and the seller to use. So, we work with the agents around obviously providing it at a fair price. But a big thing for us is also shortening the time. So in Ireland, on average, from a property going live to completing is about 7 months, which is, ridiculous. But we're getting that down to about 3 months now at the moment, which is a big area of focus for us.
Okay, fair enough. Are you employing many people, or are there plans to expand?
Yeah, we've got 17 employees at the moment based in Ireland and the UK. And our Irish employees are in Cork, Wexford, Dublin, Wicklow, spread around. So yeah, we have a representative down in Cape Town, and we also have a couple of people coming on board in the States. So we're sort of trying to grow and scale as much as we can, like all good Irish startups.
It's fascinating. Well done. It seems like a win-win for everybody, and I wish you all the very best with it. Robert Hoban, founder of Offr, which is OFFR.io, if I'm correct.
That's wonderful, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Robert. Good morning.